It's no secret, Data Cloud is fundamental to the future of Salesforce and is a foundation of what everything else is going to be built on. Hi, my name is George, and for the past 3 years, I've been implementing Data Cloud for some of the biggest companies in Australia, and it's a pretty awesome position for myself to be in where you get to learn things that only comes through trial and error and really being in the platform day to day. So what I'd love to do in this video for you guys is to break down exactly what the platform is, what the 5 steps are for bringing the platform together and being able to successfully implement it, and some real life use cases to really bring it to life for you to see how it can work for you and your clients. So what exactly is Data Cloud? It started a few years ago where Salesforce developed their own CDP. A CDP is simply a customer data platform. You're able to bring your data about your customers from many different sources, unify together and produce a unified customer profile. Salesforce has been very intentional about their marketing and about the way that they position this product. So in line with our strategy, they've renamed CDP as the Data Cloud platform. What this allows Salesforce to do is really position this as the underlying data lake that powers the rest of the platform. So this is not just for marketing, it could be for B2B, it could be for service use cases, and now most critically for Agentforce and AI, where everything that the agents are doing is powered by data ingested into the Data Cloud framework. And while the hype is all around Agentforce, agents, and how AI can be used in the platform, the real secret sauce to be able to master this is to first master Data Cloud. So with that in mind, how exactly does it work and how do you implement the platform? Now to break it down for you guys, these are the 5 key areas that come together to produce the final Data Cloud solution. Firstly is the data ingestion, then comes the data mapping. Once it's mapped, you can create your unified customer profiles. Then you can create your segments and insights. And lastly, you can activate the other platforms. Let's dive into the first aspect, which is the data ingestion. The way Data Cloud handles ingestion of data to the platform is via what's called data streams. Data streams are simply the way that Data Cloud references data from source platforms and lets it be leveraged within the platform. So this can be either data that's stored directly in Data Cloud. The other option is to query data directly from a source system through what's called zero ETL or data federation. This means that it's only referenced and is used further down the track in the platform. Salesforce have made this really easy through what's called standard connectors, as well as options for custom integrations. A few examples of standard connectors are the standard connection from Salesforce CRM objects, Salesforce Marketing Cloud for Salesforce personalization. Other options as well are standard connectors from Databricks, Google Cloud Storage, AWS, and a bunch of others. This allows you to plug and play to a certain extent with some basic configuration, and allows you to really quickly ingest data from these source systems to move into the next phase. Other options need a bit more customization, such as APIs, web SDKs, app SDKs. These allow you to ingest real-time data and to facilitate some really complex use cases. It's really up to you for when you first design the integration, but I would suggest to start with a standard out-of-the-box connectors to make it really easy, and then move to complex and custom connectors where required. Now that you've ingested your data into data streams, the next step is to map this to the data model. The data model is really the way for the platform to categorize data and categorize the relationships between them. This centers around a few key aspects. The first aspect is that in the center of this model is an individual. This is any type of profile that's been ingested from any source, and this can qualify for eventually becoming part of the unified individual. The next core aspect are the contact points. So these are the email addresses, the phone numbers, the addresses that are associated to users. The other aspect is engagement. These are actions made online and offline. Next is the other category. These are things that provide context and metadata about your customers and about your business. And the last main type of object within this model is a party identification object. This object is critical to mapping your different identity types. This is the way the platform handles different types of identities you have about your customers, and it's a way you can tie together different individuals and different data streams into one unified profile. By now, we've assumed a few things. You've ingested your data into the platform, you've created data streams, you can transform your data as it comes in through processes called formula field and data transforms, and these are then stored within what are called data lake objects. Data lake object is what stores the prepared data and the data that's ready to go and ready to map into the platform. And then you can map these through a drag and drop interface into the data model objects. These can be custom data model objects and relationships you've set up, and there's absolutely nothing stopping you adapting the customer 360 model, extending it to your particular business needs, and your customer requirements. Next is one of the most integral parts of the platform, and it is the creation of the unified customer profile. This uses unification rules to determine which identity types and which attributes can be used to merge customers together, as well as working with the reconciliation rules, which means which of the data sources will be the priority, especially when generating a final unified customer profile. These reconciliation rules determine the priority of the data sources used to produce the unified individual, as well as which attributes from which sources should make it to the final profile. A really cool aspect of the platform is that none of the data that's mapped is lost. You have the full history of the different profiles and data sources that have been mapped. And then the unified customer profile can be used and could be adapted down the track if you ever need to. You also have pretty cool features in the platform, such as a profile explorer, which can show the unified profile with all the map sources. It can show engagement from different sources. So it's really one way in the UI which you can see the customer snapshot in one go. The other option is things like the profile data graph, meaning you can stitch together the unified profile with all related individuals, and you can query this via processes like the API. This is a really awesome way to use the API to retrieve customer profile information from any other platform, and it really extends the use of the platform past the UI. So by this point, you now have a unified individual. The next step is that you can either create a segment or a calculator insight. Segments are a UI-friendly drag and drop interface to be able to quickly create segments using any profile information or engagement information that you've related to a unified individual. This means that you can, for example, say, create me a segment of users that have done a particular action in the last month, or create me a segment of people that are ready to be targeted in this next campaign. This is a way the platform can stitch together what you've ingested about the profile and then generate a segment that you can target either in other Salesforce platforms, or perhaps targeting these users across ads or social media. Segments are using drag and drop, whereas Calculator Insights either uses Visual Builder or SQL to create pretty complex calculations using data. Calculator Insights are what the name suggests, insights via calculations. So these are made up of dimensions, which are different attributes you're pulling through from your data, and metrics, which are the outputs of the calculations you're making. These can be things like the lifetime value of a customer or the amount of transactions they made over a time period. So now that you've created segments and calculated insights using your individuals and unified individual information, the next step is to activate this to other platforms. What this allows you to do is retrieve those customer records, choose the attributes you want to pass through, and activate that to that platform. For example, you can push a segment to Marketing Cloud for a really targeted and effective campaign. This means that what could historically have taken weeks for a data scientist team to generate a segment and push it to a platform can now take minutes to hours depending on complexity using Data Cloud. And it really allows speed to market from the inception of an idea to the execution in a platform. Another cool Data Cloud activation use case could be to dramatically reduce ad spend by creating a really hyper-targeted segment and not wasting money on people that will never interact with the ad that you're creating. And it's one of those use cases that can dramatically increase return on investment alone. And it's one of those things that can really sell the platform despite all the other capability that it provides. There are other types of ways to activate data, such as pushing to cloud and file storage locations, hitting API and webhook endpoints, or for example, invoking a Salesforce flow to allow you to push Salesforce data within the ecosystem. So there's a possibility of some really complex use cases depending on your business objectives and your capability. So as you can see, Data Cloud is a super extensive platform. It's something Salesforce have developed over the past few years and is built from the ground up. So I encourage you, subscribe and follow me for more content specifically around Data Cloud. It's going to be something critical to your career growth in the Salesforce ecosystem. And I'm going to help you upskill as much as possible. So I'll see you in the next video.